Hi guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we'll be making this palazzo pants. It has an elastic waistline, it has rope, and it has pocket. It's really easy to make, and if this is something you like to learn, please keep watching. Also, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Please guys, try to leave a comment as it helps the algorithm to push this video to more people. Thank you very much. The first thing to do is to cut out your fabric, and to do that you're actually going to divide your hip measurement by 4 and add an extra 6 inches. Also, you are going to get your length, the full length you want your pants to be, and then add an extra 2 inches. So that's exactly how you're going to be able to cut out your fabric. After doing that, the first step is to mark your starting point, which is also going to serve as your waistline. The next thing to do is to mark your crotch depth, and for that you're going to take your hip measurement divided by 4. But once you are marking the crotch depth, you're not going to start from 1 inch. You're going to be taking away 1.5 inches, which is going to be your waistband. Remember, you're going to attach your waistband to this, and instead of marking your actual hip measurement divided by 4, I added 2.5 inches. So divide your hip measurement by 4 and add 2.5 inches for ease, because this is actually a palazzo pants. After that, I've gone ahead to extend the lines, and I'm labeling crotch line. From my crotch line, I went up by 2.5 inches to get my hip line, and I'm also going to extend the points just like you see me doing, and I'll label H, which is my hip line. And on the waist area, I'm just labeling W, which is my waistline. On my crotch line, I'm going to take my hip measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5, and I added an extra 3.5 inches, which gave me 14. So the 14 inches that I had, I'm going to just mark it across all the lines that I've made. So you mark 14 on your waistline, your hip line, and your crotch line, and then you extend in a straight line, just like you see me doing. For my crotch extension, I'll be extending by 2 inches. I marked the point there, and I'm going to get my curve and connect that point that I made into the crotch line, just like you see me doing. After that, I'm going to measure everything I have on that crotch, both my extension and the crotch, and then I'm going to mark the exact same thing down until I get to the end of this pant. What I had was 16 inches, so I'm just going ahead to mark 16 inches until I get to the end of my pants. On the waistline, I'll also go in by 1 inch just to reduce the bulkiness around the waist area. I like to do this, so I just take away 1 inch from my waistline, and then I'll go ahead and cut. Just follow the lines that you have already made and cut your fabric. After cutting, I'll take this away and place the back. So I'm ready to cut the back. For the back, you're actually going to make sure that your fabric is at least 2.5 inches wider than the front. So the back of a pant is usually wider and also at least 2 inches longer. You're going to place your front fabric on the fabric for the back, and just make sure it doesn't get to the top. Make sure there's at least 1.5 inches allowance on top, and make sure that there's 1 inch allowance on both sides, because I like to share my allowance on both sides. Remember, I said that the back is usually longer than the front. This is how you're going to go in by 2 inches for the front, and you're going to come up by 1.5 inches. You're going to mark 1.5 inches. Please just watch what I'm doing. After that, you're going to measure the exact same thing you have on your waist, and then you're going to slant it. So I'm just trying to extend my waistline for the front so you can see it clearly. So measure whatever is your waist in front, and then you're going to measure the exact same thing at the back, but this time around there is a slant of 1.5 inches higher. I hope this makes sense. Please just watch what I'm doing. So remember that the back is also wider than the front, so I'm going to be adding 1 inch allowance on both sides. So I've marked 1 inch on that side, and I'm marking 1 inch on the other side of the back. So just know that the back is 2 inches wider. I'm going to use my ruler to connect the 1.5 to the waistline of the front so that they will match at the side. So after connecting, this is what my waistline looks like. The next thing is to connect this last point together. So I'll just connect from my crotch line to the waistline to get my back piece. That's actually all for this, guys. It is actually really simple. You just go ahead and cut it out. So after I was done, I removed the front and I'll have just the back piece. I'm just trying to mark the wrong sides of this back piece. So the next thing I'm going to do, because this is already right side facing each other, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch around the crotch area. Just follow the direction of this chalk that I've drawn. I'll go ahead and stitch it. I'll repeat the exact same thing for the front piece. Go ahead and stitch in the direction of this crotch area. After I was done, I used my weaving machine to weave them, and I used my iron to iron the seams open and flat. And this is what it is looking like for the front, and this is what it's looking like for the back piece. You can see the crotch area for the back is longer than the front. The next thing is to cut my pocket for this. This is an inseam pocket. As you can see, it is folded into 4. So I'm just following the direction of my hands. This is really easy. Just open your palm flat on it, mark a point, and then go ahead and cut it out. Because this was folded in 4, you have 4 pieces of this pocket, and that's exactly what we need. Now, to attach the pockets to the pants, I'm going to come down by 1 inch on both sides of the waistline because my band is going to be there. So I'm just leaving some allowance. Come down by 1 inch on both sides, and then you're going to place the pocket right side facing each other. So this part of this pocket you're seeing is the wrong side, and then you're going to go ahead and pin it down. You repeat the same thing for all sides of this pants, for both the front and the back. So this is the front. I'll go ahead and stitch. I'll also pin down, come down by 1 inch. Just repeat the exact same thing you did for the front, for the back. Come down by 1 inch, get your pocket, place them right sides facing each other, pin it down, and go to your machine and stitch it down. After I was done stitching them down, this is exactly what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the wrong side. I went ahead to use my weaving to weave it. As you can see, this is already coming out. That is one piece, and which is the front, and this is the other piece, which is the back. So you're just going to go ahead and place them right sides facing each other, and make sure you align them properly. Make sure the pockets are aligned. So as you can see, I'm using my pin to make sure they align properly. You can go ahead and pin it down till you get to the end of this. Then you're going to stitch from your waistline into the pocket and outside, so the pocket area will be open. Guys, don't stitch on it. So go like this, follow the direction of my hands, and go straight to the bottom of this pants. So whatever you do for one side of a pant, you are going to repeat it for the other side. So stitch from your waist area, enter into your pocket, come out, and stitch down. After stitching, I went ahead to use my weaving to weave it, and this is what it's looking like. As you can see, this pant is already coming out so beautifully. The next step to do is to join your 2 crotch area together. So you're just going to open this up. You're going to make sure that the stitches are meeting each other, so center to center. Make sure it is very aligned. Then use your pin to pin it down. Make sure you pin it down and just align. You can go ahead and pin down till you get to the end of your fabric, after which you're just going to sew by 1/2 inch. Just sew by 1/2 inch round all this area, so like this, until you get to the end of the pants. This is actually really simple. I've gone ahead to do that, and I also weaved it. The next thing is to cut out my band, and to do that, I'm going to open up my waist for this pant, and make sure you measure it carefully from the beginning till the end. I had 24 inches, which is actually 48. So the length of my waistband will be 48 inches. Now, before I cut out the waistband, I'm also going to make sure that I take note of my elastic. The type of elastic you are using determines the size, that's the wideness of the band you are going to be cutting. So I wanted my elastic to be 1.5 inches, but I did not have at home at the time. So I cut out 2 pieces of 1 inch, and then I just placed them just like you see me doing. I placed them to make sure I get 1.5 inches, and then I went ahead and I stitched very tight. So I'll stitch and show you what it looks like. I used a bright color thread so that you can see the stitching on this elastic. So this is how you can stitch your elastic if you don't have any. Also, for the length of the elastic, I actually used my waist measurement -2. So my waist is 28 inches and the length of this elastic is 26 inches. Now, since I already know the size of the elastic, I'll go ahead and cut out my waistband. So my waistband is 1.75 inches. So I like to add 0.25 inches to whatever size of elastic I have to serve as my ease. Then you're also going to add half an inch on both sides of the elastic to join. So remember, you're going to be joining this elastic. This is like your actual waistband you use on your proper pants. Everything I have on this pants is almost 3 inches on fold, almost 3 inches on fold. That's 2.75 inches on fold, and I went ahead to fold both the up and the lower parts by half of an inch each, because that's where you'll be joining. Then for the length, you can see me measuring 49 inches instead of 48. So I'm just going to cut out. You want this to actually be 49 inches. Add an extra inch. I'll be opening this up and then I'll be joining them side by side. So just fold them and join them right sides facing each other. Just watch what I'm doing. So join it like this and go ahead and pin it down, and then you go ahead and stitch using 1 inch because your waist is actually 48 inches. The first thing to do before you join is to pin it down, because there's no interface on this, so it's soft. So just pin it down. Now, before you go ahead to stitch, you're going to take note on the area that will be facing the front side. By the time you are done stitching, that area will have an opening because you are going to be passing your rope into it. So this is what I'm just going to do. I'm just going to come in by 1 inch. Remember that the allowance is 1 inch because this is 49 instead of 48. So I'm just marking the 1 inch down. Now for the stitching, I'm just going to stitch and leave half of an inch open. So you just measure like half of an inch, you mark a point there, and then you measure another half of an inch. So you sew from the beginning to this inch, and then you measure another half of an inch. That part will be left open because you're going to be passing your rope into it. So this area that I've just drawn with a white chalk will be open. Don't stitch on it. So you stitch from the beginning, you stop there and you tack your stitch. Then you start from this upper part and then you stitch and you go down. So when you are done, there will be an opening there for you to pass your rope. After I was done sewing, remember my waistband is into two, it's folded into two. So this is that opening. I hope you can see it clearly. So just open the seam, iron it properly, and you have your band almost ready. So please note that there's an extra half of an inch allowance on both sides of this band. So ½ inch at the lower part and ½ inch at the upper part. The next thing to do is to join my waistband to this pant, and to do that, remember that area that has an opening, please be very conscious of that. You're going to be placing it at the center front. So watch how I'm placing it. I'm placing the right side of this waistband to the wrong side of my pant. Make sure it is aligned to the center front, and then go ahead and pin it down. So this is where my opening is. So my opening is not on that area that is pinned down. It is on the area that will fold over to the front. I hope this makes sense. So I'm notching to get the midpoint of the waistband, and that midpoint is where I'm also going to be attaching at the center back of this pant. I'll go ahead and pin it also. So I'm pinning this down to make sure it is properly aligned. So I'll go ahead and open. Remember, you left ½ of an inch for your joining, so go ahead and stitch by ½ of an inch round this whole pant. I'll do it. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. After I was done, this is what it's looking like. As you can see, the next thing to do is to turn this over to the right side, and then the other ½ of an inch will be used to cover up the rough parts that you have stitched on. I hope this makes sense. If you know how to fist a normal waistband, just like you do for your skirts, that's exactly how to do it. So you're just going to pin it down, make sure you cover the rough edges, and then you are going to stitch very close to the lower part of the band, just very close to the tip, and then you're just going to stitch it round and close this band up. Now, but because you are going to be passing your allowance, you want to leave an extra 1.5 inches or 1 inch when you are closing your waistband. So just leave this area that I'm marking open. You can pick any area, preferably at at the back to leave open. So go ahead and stitch around, but just leave like 1 inch or 1.5 open. I'll do that and I'll come and show you. So this is what it looks like. I've stitched down everywhere, as you can see. If you can see the stitching, I've stitched it down so it is laid flat. The opening is still opened. So go ahead and insert your elastic using your pin, your safety pin, from that area that is open, that 1.5. So please just watch what I'm doing. You're just going to be pushing your elastic from that part that is opened carefully and gently, and then you're going to bring it out on the other side. So after passing the elastic from one area to the other, see what I have. I'm going to go ahead and stitch it very tight so it will not be able to lose. Then I'll go ahead and cover that area that I used to insert the elastic. So you can see I've covered that area, stitch it down, and then you're just going to be dragging your elastic like this so that it will be evenly distributed among your pants. The next thing to do is to form a casing for your rope that you're going to be passing. So 1/2 inch on top and 1/2 inch below. That's what you are going to mark, and then you are going to stitch. So as you are stitching, make sure you are dragging. See how I'm dragging this? So as you are stitching, make sure you are dragging it to the fullest. Drag it properly as you are stitching so that it will be evenly distributed by the time you are done. So when you stitch 1/2 inch towards the upper part of this band and 1/2 inch towards the lower part, you have a space at the center which is going to serve as the casing for your rope. So you're going to go ahead, use your safety pin once again, and insert from that opening that you had already made when you were making the band. So just insert it carefully until you bring it out from the other side, and then you go ahead and hem the bottom of this pant. So you can weave it before you hem it. So I weaved it and then I just hemmed it once, and that's all for the pants. As you can see, the pants came out really beautifully. Please, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share, comment, turn on notifications so you'll be notified whenever I make a new post. Also guys, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you like from the video and if there's anything I need to improve on. And the more you leave comments, the more the algorithm will push this video to other people that needs to see it. Thank you so much, and see you in my next video. Bye.